When you're buying a house, you may be wondering, hey, should I buy a new home or should I buy something more established that's been here a little while and an older home? I'm gonna go over the pros and cons of each. I'm Kimo Quance with 𝐂𝐨𝐬𝐿 Realty Group. Now the first one regarding a new house that is a pro is it being more energy efficient. Things like better insulation, windows, right? The dual pane windows. A lot of the homes has to have solar these days when they're being built. So you're gonna have more energy efficiency in a brand new home. Number two is lower maintenance, right? Everything is pretty much new. So you're not gonna have to worry about things like roof for another 20 years, plumbing, etc. for years down the road. So initially, you're not gonna have as much maintenance costs for at least 15, 20 years. The next thing is picking your finishes. Obviously, with a new home, you can go in and be like, you know what, I like this type of countertop, I want this type of backsplash, this type of flooring, etc. You can customize it to make it yours. What's great about a new home as well is the more current floor plans, right? So you have a more open space that meets today's expectations of buyers. All right, now we're gonna talk about the cons of a new home. Initially, there's gonna be a higher cost. Because when you go to a builder, you're gonna have obviously your down payment that you have with your loan, but a lot of times the builder is gonna want some of the upgrades paid for with cash. So if you wanna upgrade your backsplash, countertops, flooring, etc., they're gonna want an initial payment on top of your down payment for them to put that finish into your property. The next thing is the neighborhood is not established, right? So your home may be done, but there may be other homes in the neighborhood that are still being built. You have construction debris everywhere, workers, tractors, trucks, loud noises. But also too, even once the neighborhood's done, you don't know who your neighbors are going to be and how the neighborhood's actually gonna turn out in 5, 10, 15 years from now. And lastly, HOA and 𝐂𝐿𝐴. You're gonna have these with these new builds, right? HOA, right, for the common areas of the neighborhood, you're gonna have to pay that extra expense above and beyond your mortgage. And some neighborhoods out there are actually gonna have 2 HOAs, one for the whole community and then one for your specific build within that community if it's a multi-builder community. And then there's 𝐂𝐿𝐴. So 𝐂𝐿𝐴, depending, they could be 15 or 20 years and they'll expire, and that's gonna have money that goes towards the schools and neighborhoods surrounding your neighborhood. So those are costs above and beyond your mortgage payment. So that is one of the cons of buying a new build. And if you're considering buying a new home, most people don't realize you want to have your own representation when doing so. So bring a real estate professional with you. Some of these costs that we talked about, the higher costs with a new build, can help be negotiated by your own representation. So before you actually go step foot in a development for a new home, bring your realtor with you so they can help you keep those costs down and you can have someone in your corner so you can get the best deal for your new build. All right, so now let's talk about buying an older home. One of the nice things about an older home is that you're gonna have a well-established neighborhood and mature trees. You can go into an older neighborhood and you can see, okay, exactly how the neighborhood turned out. You can see who's living next door to you across the street. You can see how the roads are, if it's been taken care of, etc. Those are things that are beneficial to an old home. Number two, you're gonna have less expensive upfront costs when buying an older home. You don't have that additional cost that we talked about in customizing your new build that you have with your older home. Next, your older home could potentially have a lot more character than you would get with a new build. I can think of things like North Park, Kensington, Hillcrest, Escondido. There's some great older homes that if only they could talk, they could really tell a story that you don't get with a new build. This kind of goes without saying, but a lot of times you're gonna have a larger lot when you go with an older home. As you can see, some of the new builds are kind of built right next to each other. So you're gonna have a lot more room for the kids to play, etc. when you're buying an older house. The other thing that's a pro when buying an older home is chances are you're not gonna have the 𝐂𝐿𝐴 or an HOA. They are out there, but the majority of the time you're not gonna have that, so that keeps your expenses down on a monthly basis. All right, now let's talk about cons of buying an older house. It's older. It's gonna have stuff that goes wrong. And every house does, but you're obviously gonna see it more on an older home. Things like foundation may have issues. There's certain neighborhoods in Santee that maybe have foundation issues, or a lot of the houses across the county that were built in the 50s where they have cast iron that's ready to be changed out now. You're going to have stuff like that come up with an older home, and that's going to be more expense on the maintenance side of things. And what's great, when you work with us, this is something we know. We know the neighborhoods that have certain issues. We know particular houses and when they're due to have things done to them. So when you work with us, we're going to let you know about those things to make for a smoother home buying process for you. Next, with an older home, you're going to have older and potentially outdated floor plans, more compartmentalized, less open, less of what people in today's standards look for. And lastly, with an older house, you're going to have less energy efficiency. From insulation to older, single pane windows to stuff like the electrical panel. Maybe you have an electric car, you need to get the charger installed, you may have to upgrade that electrical panel to do so, or you want to get solar panels installed, right? You're going to have costs with upgrading your electrical panel to be able to do that. So those are the pros and cons of buying a new house versus an older house. We here at 𝗤𝗂 Realty can navigate through this process for you. We know the neighborhoods, we know what to do. What I encourage you to do is reach out to us so that way we can sit down with you and help you go through this process together. I'm Kimo Quance with 𝗂𝐴 Realty Group.